All right, so as we prepare for monster design, the link that we are going to be taking a look at is right here. And within this document, you do have quite a bit of information. So you're going to become a monster designer, and you are going to be designing inside of Photopea, and ultimately you are going to be animating your monster. So examples and guidance are going to be posted kind of as we move through this. Here are some ideas to help you get started. So here are some monsters that actually dance, or that I should say are actually animated. So you could kind of look at this as this is kind of a goal that I'm working towards. Here is just a template that has some fun monster designs in case you know, kind of, sometimes I'm just brain dead. I'm like, what do you mean I need to design a monster? Like, is a monster a grizzly bear? Is a monster an octopus? Or is a monster, you know, completely odd shaped? It's whatever a monster is to you. These are just some ideas to get you started. So each day I will do a bit of instructing, and then I would encourage you to kind of replicate that instruction. So on day one, so we'll consider this basically day one of our monster design, I basically am going to kind of design the body and a little bit of the eye, okay? As we go through this project, each day as you're developing your monster design, you are going to put screenshots. And I'm actually, so the example that you're seeing is, of course, my monster from first semester as I developed him. And I am going to completely redesign my monster this semester. So this is day one of my monster design from semester one. So you're welcome to look at that. But then you can also just go ahead and watch today's video or today's lesson, which is where I will design monster one for this semester, which that's the one that my instruction is going to be for the animation part of it. Okay, so the first part of your assignment is just to kind of brainstorm and think about what you want that monster to look like. So I'm inside of Photopea and I'm getting ready to start my monster design. So I'm going to begin a new project. And in a lot of ways, the size doesn't necessarily matter, but we are going to start in inches. And 7x7 works pretty well on our desktops as well as our Chromebooks. And I'm going to begin with a white background, and I'm going to go ahead and hit create. Now I am going to use the pen tool to generate the outline of my monster. And what your monster looks like doesn't really matter. It's completely up to you what that monster looks like. So that's the great thing of why I choose monster design, is there's not really that right and wrong that we have to think about. Now you may have looked at the templates and you may have an idea of what you want your monster to look like. Oh, let's see. Oh, so this is where I should talk about stroke and fill. I think sometimes it's easier if you turn that darn fill off and only work with stroke. All right, so I think this is going to be my basic shape. I like this leg or arm or whatever we call this a whole lot better than this side. But that's where the glory of, you know, having this direct selection tool, which I don't think we talked about in our pen tool lesson, but this direct selection tool is so nice because I can go in and, like, this is kind of an awkward spot. I can go in and it's the second option, the direct select. I can double click. And I can now edit those points. Not that that's making life easier on me right this second. There we go. I don't like, So sometimes with those crazy handles, you do have to like untwist. Like maybe my monster had a big wrinkle. Who thought I would iron a wrinkle on a rainy Thursday? But here I am living the dream. Let's see what I can do. I don't like this little spot right here. But again, it's your monster, so it's about what you like. I mean, not that a monster has to be equal, but I kind of wanted him to be a little more equal. Maybe? Yeah, I think I can roll with that. Now, I do think that I want this particular point to be a little lower, because I think this monster is kind of going to have two parts. I think he's going to have this part. Maybe this is like his lower body. And I'm going to give him another part up here. So let's see what that is going to look like. So in my eyes, again, this is kind of his lower body. I don't know, maybe this is his mouth area. Whoa. You know why that happened? Mrs. Martin forgot to hit the escape tool. And again, if I want to come back and edit any points, we can do that. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. Now, I feel like my monster needs to have a little bit of texture. So right now I feel like he's very smooth. I mean, and smooth is a texture, but I don't see a monster as being smooth. In my eyes, a monster is not smooth. And I think I want his head to be a different color. So I'm going to, if I click down here on my rectangle tool or my shape tools, I can change his fill color. We'll go with this cyan color. So I want him to kind of have some little hairs. And I don't know, maybe later these little hairs are going to flow a little. I'm not sure. This is just, my mind working right now. And I'm actually going to use the pen tool to create these little hairs. So just bear with me a second. Oh, see, this is where I really need the fill turned off. And I really only want stroke on. And I want a different color. Why? There we go. I think my computer froze. I'm going to pause. So this is my little hair follicle. I am going to duplicate that layer. I'm using the arrow keys on my keyboard. And I'm going to there it is. Grab a hold of it. I rotated it. I'm actually going to make another one of those and move it to the other side and rotate it so like this is a chunk of his hair. So I'm going to take these three layers. I'm holding my shift key down. I selected all three of those and I'm going to put those in a group. And I should be good and name it, but right now I'm not. So I'm using this to create these like kind of crazy patches of hair. So I am going to keep, so let me bring my screen down so you can see where I'm going down here. I'm going to keep bringing this hair to this new folder, and I'm making like additional patches of this hair that's on my monster. So obviously this is becoming a little repetitive, and nobody needs to just waste their time watching Mrs. Martin put hair on a monster. So something else that I should probably think about on day one, I've kind of said this is going to be my monster's mouth. And a monster doesn't have to have a mouth, but it's probably going to. Again, it doesn't have to have an eye, but I will tell you as we work through some of the editing and some of the animation especially, do you already have a good idea of how to animate eyes? Uh-huh. So for your monster design, you're required to have at least 3 animated pieces. So if you put an eye on and animated, it's probably, kind of a give me. So on day one, I'd recommend that you get your body shape, maybe a little bit of texture, and I am going to go ahead and give this poor monster an eye. I think it will just be a straight ellipse. So the reason it's hard for me to see it is because I have my eye in the same color as my background. I don't know. I feel like I want his eye to be filled in. Oh, maybe with a gradient with an outline of black. Yes, I think I like that. And then, well, I always look for an excuse to use the color yellow. Not the texture I was thinking of for an eyeball, but kind of crazy, and I kind of think it could work for a monster. So I want it off-centered a little, right about there. So I think I'm gonna roll with that. I think he needs a few eyelashes yet, maybe. So I'm gonna make my eyelashes after I answer my. Where was I? I was thinking about making I was thinking about making some eyelashes. So I'm gonna make my eyelashes with my pen tool, just like I did these clumps of hair. So the next time you see my monster, he'll have some eyelashes and he will be all hairy. I may even put some red hair on his face, I don't know. But so monster design day 1. A body shape, some texture, and probably an eyeball would be highly recommended. So enjoy and have fun.